Right, greetings all, hope this finds you well as always. It's now time for the latest update from the machine shop. But before I go any further, I've got a little problem that I need to address. When I started doing these videos, quite a while ago now, it's getting on for nearly a year, I started this title card as a bit of a joke. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't expect these videos to last as long as they had. They came up with a conversation between myself and Adrian Dennis and Ian Hodgman about GoPro cameras and their usage. I'm shooting this on an iPhone, make of that what you will. And so I wasn't really expecting them to last that long. And so I put this title card up and various people came up to me and said, "Why do you get any bit of paper? That's all manky." And I'm so, well, hang on, I've not made a bleeding money. And then eventually the inevitable happened, ran out of space. But I'm a bit attached to this old title card, and it is the close season. We've got no money coming in, things is tight, so we'll just improvise a bit, I think. So I've found us a temporary fix that should do the job for the moment. I just need to find a bit of sticky tape just to stick it on. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen, number 50. How we got on with this many, I don't know, but let's see if we can do another 50, yeah? Right, so that's that little bit of nonsense sorted. Where are we up to? Right, well, the first thing I've been on with is All This Motion, which was non-destructive tested by Tom Goulding last week. I've since gone through with micrometers and bore gauges, and you will see several chunks of it have acquired the letter N on it. That indicates to me that a new part is required. So we have included these two pins, which have been condemned due to the grooving. You can see on them there. These are at the bottom of the expansion links on 76079. You can see more grooving in that one as well. We have various other links of a mixture of those two are off 76079. That's off 80136. And the problem with those three is those bushes have worn oval beyond acceptable tolerances. So those bushes need pressing out and renewing. And then over here, we've got several other bits, including various other links, both off 76079, and both of which had, apologies. The right-hand one is off this one is off 76079. This one is off 80136, concentrate. Anyway, yeah, so these are the links, and the problem was that the pins that go into said links had worn grooved there, and also worn grooved there. So today, Brian's been busily at it, and he's been machining new pins out of bits of EN16. He's yet to do new collars and then fit them, ream them for taper pins, put the anti-rotation feathers in, but I'm sure he'll agree with me, that's a lovely finish he's got on there. They're very nice. Lovely fitting the links as well. This is the first time he's done work like this, and he's done well there. They're very nice indeed. So that's where and there's other bits as well. That's one of the scrap pins. That's another pin that's badly grooved that needs replacing. And so that's pretty much all the small motion at the moment. This is off a mixture of 76079 and 80136 that we've got in. But unfortunately, I had to rip Brian off that in a mad crisis panic. We have those occasionally. I don't like it when we have them because they're a nuisance, but occasionally we have them. A very distressed young Andrew Jeffrey comes up to me clutching this fitting, which is a fitting out of the gauge frames of the 9F. And the problem with it is you can just see the bottom of the thread here, between where my thumb is and the shoulder, you can see where it's cracked. I think it started in the root of the thread and then it's propagated outwards. The thread is also decidedly past its best. So young Andrew was rather distressed. You may ask, why do we need the 9F in such a worry? Well, it's on steam test next week, so we do sort of need a pair of gauge frames on it that actually work. So unfortunately, I was out in the yard with Thomas Goulding. We've got a couple of, they were donated a while ago. There's a couple of lathes that were donated to us by Bulby Potash, and I'm going through them, having a look at them and working out what will be required to get them recommissioned. So now I'm up there, I really want to get that done this week. And so, fortunately, Brian. So I could very quickly say to him, I know you're doing a smashing job with those motion pins, but would you mind most awfully, in best Sergeant Wilson style, if I pulled you off that and stuck you onto something else, to wit, making two of these. So as you can see, he's put the hexagon heads in that billet of bronze. He's then just got to split it down the middle, turn the threaded portion to size, thread it, and that split die is there for him to use as a guide because it's 1/4 inch by 19 TPI British Standard pipe thread, so that's there for him to use as a guide tomorrow. So that's that job all set up and ready to go. As you can see, the whiteboard's changed yet again because all mention the crane's disappeared off it. That's not because we got rid of it, but because the work we are doing on it has finally finished. It's been replaced with 825. So there you go. But yeah, as you can all see, there's a lot of jobs been added to the 76079 and 80136 pages as well. So yeah, we're busy. So anyway, so what have I been doing apart from wandering around trying to work out why a screw cutting gearbox doesn't? Right, well, I've been on with rod bushes. These are for 76079. We've got 2 remetalled there, which have been bored out to size. They just need the oil pad holes cleaning out in the milling machine either tomorrow or early next week, and then they can be pressed back into the rods. And then we have new bushes. There's one on the floor there that just needs finished machining, and there's one in the lathe here which is nearly finished. What I've done here is, as I said before, we rough turn these bushes first of all. We turn them to a 1/8 of an inch oversize on the outside diameter before we cast the white metal into them. That's because as the white metal is cast, the bush, this large chunk of bronze, inevitably distorts. It's not much, but it's often just enough to be a nuisance. And if you've got 1/8 of an inch to clean up on it, well, you can get around that. So what I've done is set it up, bored the inside to finish size, bored the external to a press fit in the rod. This is what I was talking about the other week. The outside diameter is turned to a 1/1000 per inch diameter oversize. Well, that bush is 8 inches diameter, so it's 1/8 thou oversize on the rod hole. And then the internal is turned to be a 1/1000 per inch diameter running fit on the crank pin, and then it also adds on this half of whatever the extra I put on the outside. I also put half of that, so in this case 4 thou, onto the inside for the squash allowance, so that when that's pressed into the rod, it won't nip down too hard and be too tight to fit on the crank pin. So anyway, that's been bored to finish size. I've just tidied it up, just taking the rag off the edges, and so the last job that I need to do is that needs to be taken out that chuck, flipped around, and the brim, which is the side that's sitting up against the chuck currently, just needs facing to finish thickness. That's so that when the bush is pressed into the rod, it will set the right side-to-side play of the rod on the crank pin. Now, we get that unless there's serious problems with it from the old bush. And then the very last job will be put an oil pad hole in it, and then at 90 degrees the oil pad hole will mill a keyway in it. The keyway is there purely to align the bush in the rod as it's pressed in. It's purely so that when the bush is pressed home, we know that the oil pad will line up with the hole in the rod, and so it will work. Somebody once tried to tell me it's to stop the bush revolving in the rod. That thing's been pressed in with a force of somewhere at least 10 tons on it. How on earth something that's been pressed in with a force of 10 tons is going to rotate in a steel rod? I've no idea. And if it is going to rotate in a steel rod, a 1/2 inch thick key is going to make no difference at all whatsoever. So anyway, so that's that. There's other small motion to deal with, of course. There always is. We've got a little mound combination levers here. Again, noticing the pattern, 2 off 76079, 1 off 80136. And again, you can see the ends are sprouting in profusion. There's new bushes required there. There's new bushes required on the top. That one that was on top is actually upside down. I know that needs all 3 bushes renewing. We've also got 76079s with valve crossheads there. They, following their NDT and by Thomas, they've been cleaned up. The taper pin holes have been gently tittled out with a taper pin reamer just to clean them up, and new taper pins fitted, so they're actually all ready to go back on. And then what's left in that box is all the motion pins and die blocks that passed examination. They're all ready to go back on. There's also one of the links over there as well. So that's where we're up to, basically. We're keeping busy, as always. We have actually got jobs out the door. The crane has completed a successful steam test today. So that's with our remetaled big ends and also all the gauge frame fittings that Brian made several months ago, doing the stuff on it. And so, yep, it's one job out and another job in. So anyway, folks, hope you found it educational, informative as always. As I said, I still don't know if we managed to get to 50 episodes of this nonsense, but let's see if we can get to another 50. So anyway, take care, folks. I'll see you around.